Hi there. If you've watched my videos before, you know that I'm a big proponent of speaking publicly. As mediators, of course, the ability to communicate effectively is essential. I mean, not only during our mediations, but in particular when speaking in public. So, whether you're delivering a workshop or a webinar or a community event, a public speaking event, maybe a training session, speaking and your ability to speak can really set you apart and I think deepen your credibility and therefore how much your prospective clients feel that they can trust you. And so today I want to talk about this book. It's called Talk Like TED. It's by Carmine Gallo, and it explores the techniques of top TED speakers. You've probably seen a TED Talk or a TEDx talk, and they are fantastic. And they follow a very specific recipe. And in Mr. Gallo's book, he goes through that very specific recipe so that you can look at all the valuable insights that all of those great speakers have used and then apply them to enhance your public speaking impact. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I haven't given a book report in decades, perhaps, but today I'm going to give you one. So here's how you can use Gallo's 9 secrets to captivate and engage your audience. And thanks very much for joining me for Marketing Monday. I'm Natalie Armstrong-Motin. Let's get started marketing. Chai tea. We have chai tea today, not my normal coffee, because I've been feeling substantially under the weather for the last 5 days. And my husband, who's a great guy, not the greatest nurse, but he is a fabulous supervisor of the sick. And so while I've been quarantined in the bed because I'm sick, my lovely husband very rightly said, You don't need any screens when you're in bed to rest. So he brought me a tray full of bottled waters and juices and cough drops and tissues and this book to read. And so I want to talk to you about how I spent the last 5 days reading through Mr. Gallo's book and learning about his 9 secrets. Thank you to my husband for pulling this off the stack and getting me to finish it. So, one of the first things that Mr. Gallo talks about is what he calls unleash the master within. In mediation, I think it's pretty obvious to most of us that we are, as a group, really passionate about helping people resolve their conflicts. It is at the heart of the work that we do. And so when you are presenting, when you're the public speaker, you really want to let this passion shine through. Speak from your experiences and share what motivates you, what motivates your clients, what motivates the parties. um, an audience is really drawn to a speaker who's visibly engaged and genuinely enthusiastic. So think about what inspired you to become a mediator or the satisfaction that you get from helping parties reach an understanding and communicate that drive with your audience. Obviously, we can never divulge any details about the cases or the clients, but we can talk about our experiences. Mr. Gallo's second of 9 secrets is mastering the art of storytelling. Now, storytelling, I'm sure you know, it's a really powerful tool. It's a powerful tool for all of us just as humans, but in particular for those of us who are neutrals, because we can use stories to illustrate the power of mediation. We can share successful outcomes, again, respecting confidentiality, or we can demonstrate how transformative the mediation process can be. Maybe it's a personal story, a real world example, or a hypothetical scenario. Doesn't really make a difference. It's the story that matters because stories provide relatable context. And that really helps your audience connect with the concepts that we use in ADR, and it humanizes the mediation process. Mr. Gallo's third point is about having a conversation. And I think this one is a great tip. Public speaking does not have to be stiff or formal. You can treat your public speaking like it's a conversation rather than a lecture. You can maintain a relaxed and approachable tone as if you're speaking to one individual rather than an audience, or in this case, if you're doing a video, just a talking head image of yourself. But this technique, it does, again, it builds trust. It makes complex ideas about conflict resolution and mediation then feel accessible and relevant to the listeners. The fourth point that Mr. Gallo makes is something that he calls teach me something new. And I like this one a lot. This particular chapter talks about offering insights that challenges the audience's assumptions about conflict or negotiation or mediation. So you could, for instance, share some surprising data about the effectiveness of mediation or the benefits of collaborative solutions over litigation. But when you teach something unexpected, it really captures the attention and opens the minds of to all the possibilities of your audience. It talks about mediation in a fresh way. And so teaching something new, I think, is a great way to get across your credibility and your authority, etc. But it really builds trust because now you're providing something that's beneficial, something valuable, maybe something actionable. Mr. Gallo's fifth secret is deliver a jaw dropping moment. Most of us have had at least one of these jaw dropping moments when we're in a mediation or an arbitration room. So sit for a moment, reflect on what one or two of those examples might be. Because sometimes a surprising statistic or an unexpected example can leave a really positive, lasting impression. So share a compelling success story that highlights how mediation turned a really costly legal battle into a win-win situation, and how that happened. What was the jaw-dropping moment? What was the light bulb moment? What was that moment of epiphany? You can create moments in your presentation that really make people sit up and take notice, and then help them, remember the value of mediation long after your talk ends. These jaw-dropping moments that you've experienced, that I've experienced, recount them, recall them, and retell them. The next point that Mr. Gallo makes is called lighten up. And this one we want to use sparingly, I think, but I think it is absolutely appropriate and applicable for most speaking engagements. And what he's talking about in this chapter is that, a little bit of humor can make your message more relatable, makes it more human. It's okay to share lighthearted anecdotes or humorous insights about common challenges in mediation. Everyone can relate to the complexity of human conflict. And humor helps diffuse tension, especially when you're dealing with a topic like conflict resolution. So you can make your audience more open to your message. Now, in the use of humor, when we're talking about what are generally fairly serious issues or conflicts or disputes, might be a little sticky. And so I've always found that self deprecating humor works best because then I'm not making a joke about clients. I'm not making jokes about parties. I'm not making jokes about the process. But I can make a joke about me, and that's much more palatable. Number 7 in Mr. Gallo's book, and I highly recommend you go on to Amazon and grab one for yourself. Mr. Gallo's 7th point is about the 18-minute rule. And I guess I had just never paid attention really to the TED Talks I was watching. But when I went back to review the TED Talks that he recommends as the best examples of TED Talks, so when you buy his book and you read through it, he's going to give you examples of what he thinks are the absolute best of the best. But they're all, for the most part, exactly 18 minutes in length. And again, I was just obtuse, but they're quite famous for that. But the 18 minutes really keeps audiences engaged without overwhelming them. And you can apply this principle by sort of distilling complex ideas into short, impactful presentations. So you want to focus on one or two key messages that you want your audience to take away. And then you keep that content concise and engaging. And that 18-minute rule is there for some really fabulous scientific reasons. Again, grab the book. You'll learn about all of those studies. Number 8 on his list of 9 is what he calls paint a mental picture with a multi-sensory experience. So you can help your audience, quote, see or feel the value of mediation by using really descriptive language and visuals. So, for example, you want to show a simple, maybe before and after chart comparing the cost and emotional impact of litigation versus mediation, or the cost data between revenue in between a fully litigated case and a mediated case. It's a really old joke that most lawyers think of ADR as standing for alarming drop in revenue. And if you can show that, in fact, that's not actually the case, that's a great visual to share. So using visuals, anecdotes, even hypothetical scenarios can make the mediation process feel more tangible, more accessible, and more appropriate to more potential users. And then number 9, it's called stay in your lane, this particular secret. And Mr. Gallo talks a lot about authenticity, and it is one of the most powerful tools that we as mediators use in a mediation room, but it's also one of the best ways that you can really connect with your audience as the public speaker. So you want to speak in a way that is true to you, true to your personal style. You don't want to create cognitive dissonance by speaking to people at a networking event one way and then speaking from behind a podium or behind a screen in a completely different way. The connectivity that we could have built then gets dashed. So be authentic. And if you're not, naturally analytical, you don't want to feel pressure to add unnecessary embellishments. Your credibility comes from your experience. So by staying true to who you are, you build trust, you show that you're genuinely committed and passionate to the mediation process. And that's really the most important message that you can get across to your listeners. So again, I recommend that you incorporate these talk like TED techniques. They will help you communicate all of the unique values of mediation with clarity and with energy and with authenticity. Even if, like me, you're all kinds of hopped up on NyQuil, you can still communicate with passion and authenticity and talk about all of the great aspects of mediation. So share your passion, your stories, your insights, and your true self with your audience. And you'll not only then become a more engaging speaker, but also I think you'll foster a much deeper appreciation for mediation's impact on our whole industry. Well, that's it for me. Short, brief book reports. Again, haven't done one in decades, but I did enjoy, even though I was quite sick in bed, reading Mr. Gallo's Talk Like TED. I think it's a fantastic book. Jump on Amazon, grab a copy for yourself, and learn from the master. That's it for Marketing Monday. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you're off to a great week. If you have any questions, drop me a line, put a note in the comments. If you've got a topic that you want me to cover in a future episode of Marketing Monday, be sure to let me know, and I'll read a book or do some research or give you my own personal experience in my own Talking Like TED. That's it. Take care. Be good humans. Bye-bye.